Hello, hello. All right, it's telling me that I'm live, and I am inviting my good friend Deborah Wayne to join me. She's got the link, and technology is always just a little bit fun. So who knows? If you happen to be here, I would love to see that you are here. So when you arrive, let me know. Would you guys comment down below? So I can see that a few of you are here, and I can actually see she's coming, which is so cool. It's exciting when technology works, let me just tell you, especially on a Friday afternoon at 4:30 when you feel brain dead. And I just say hello. All right. So I have you on, only there's some reason. There you are. Sweet. You're the star of the show. All right. So love, love, love. I am going to start this one as well. I'm clicking lots of buttons here, but they're not all paying attention. Hey, Flora and Cindy and Lynn and Jackie. Hello, everybody. And Deborah, tell me, are you able to see chat or not?
I can see chat and I can hear you, but I'm looking at myself.
You're looking at yourself. Well, I am looking at yourself too. Just so it seems to be flipping back and forth. Hold on, let me figure this out.
It's probably whoever's speaking gets the center stage.
Well, no, it's not. I'm toggling over here. It is. I'm in control totally. Okay. But I know there's a way because we've done this before.
Yeah.
We both are showing.
So my side. Well, maybe they've changed it because I can see when you're talking, I do see myself in the bottom kind of.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to feature you anyway. So there you go. So I showered for nothing, but okay, we're good with that. All right. Show my name. I'm going to show your name for sure. So, and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself.
Absolutely.
I know you. So my good friend Deborah Wayne, and I want you to talk specifically about, I was teasing HighSpeed Healing and what it is you do. And I think the real question is, yeah, hey, Jackie, we know so we're only seeing one at a time as well. So I'm really so non-important that I'm going to keep her featured because I'm going to keep shooting questions to her. And feel free, please, all of you, to drop questions into the chat box if you've got them. But I really would like you to explain HighSpeed Healing.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, we've all talked about, we know chronic pain. We know people who are dealing with temporarily or situational issues, even long term. Yeah. But tell us really, in your words, what do you do?
All right. So first of all, hi, everyone, and thank you for being here. And Deb, thanks for having me on. I am Deborah Wayne, and I'm the founder and the CEO of the International Chronic Pain Institute. And my specialty is actually helping people who suffer from chronic pain of all types, physical pain, but not just physical pain. Also things like depression and anxiety and trauma, and the pain of not sleeping at night, or the pain of having constant headaches. I work with people who are emotional binge eaters. I work with people with addictions. I've helped people all over the world now in 150 countries, which has been very exciting. And I work virtually. And I've created a way for people who have literally tried everything and not gotten results to still be able to heal. And what's unique about it is, I'm sure those of you who've ever had pain, and by the way, if you're taking Deborah Atkinson's courses, you've probably had some kind of pain because I'm taking her course and it's hard. So,
all right. Hold on.
All right.
I'm taking her out of the game right now.
But I recommend it. It's amazing.
She's doing Stronger 3, y'all. So those of you who are in Stronger 3, you totally get it.
I feel stronger already, by the way. So, okay, so I help people who have had accidents and injuries and surgeries that went bad, and just a wide range of painful conditions, even things like painful relationships, and people that just try everything and the weight doesn't come off. It's painful. And I have, but my approach is very unique in that most of the time, if you have pain of any kind, what do they ask you? They say, where does it hurt? and then they want to cut it out or drug it out. And my work involves absolutely no pills, no supplements, no PT, no giving up the foods you love. It's not anything that you've heard before. It's a really out of the box new way of using energy healing. And I have my own particular method known as HighSpeed Healing, which I'll explain in a minute. And it's the most rapid way to help speed up the healing process and literally oftentimes release instantly even conditions that many people have had for 20, 30 years. And believe me, I know this can sound like, is she, what's she been smoking? It's not, it's new science, okay? And it's based on physics. And that's why most medical world professionals don't know what this is because they're not trained in it. But this is all documented scientifically, and it has to do with the energy field that surrounds the body. And so my method, I'm able to, let me back up. All pain and all symptoms is a particular vibration. It's a pattern. Think of it like music. Some music just is so soothing, and other music makes you want to run for the hills. Well, you have music in your field. Your body is literally the physical manifestation of everything that's ever happened to you in your life. And all of the pains of life get imprinted in what's known as your biofield. This is the field that surrounds your body. And it's measurable. There's equipment. Most doctors have never seen this equipment, but there is very sophisticated equipment that comes out of Russia and Japan that actually takes pictures and measures your biofield. And it shows where there are disturbances in the field. Now, the thing about my work is I don't need the equipment. I can actually feel the disturbances. I've become very, very trained and sensitive in finding the disturbed energy patterns that linger in your field and that either haven't shown up yet in your body or they're already in your body and they have manifested. But the cool thing about all the new science is that your body and your symptoms and your pain and your problems and your patterns, you think it's physical, but nothing physical is really physical. And I'm going to say that again. Nothing physical is really solid and physical. It's actually made of energy and light and information, and it's all changeable. So if there's nothing you hear me say today other than this, the key is that if you have pain of any kind, and that means physical pain, emotional pain, any kind of pain, it's all changeable. And it doesn't matter how long you've had it. It doesn't matter what stage, how severe it is. It really can change. And that's what's so unique about HighSpeed Healing is there are 3 areas that I work in to help people change the pattern, interrupt the pattern, and then release it so you don't have to live in pain. All right, Debora, check in with me. Did that make sense?
It does make sense, but I want to keep digging deeper because I know I've had this question, and I may be, if this is brand new for some of you, this concept, but I'm going to guess that if you're in your 50s or 60s, that you've come across somebody who's got this ability. Potentially you've met them, you've run into them, quote unquote, accidentally, but there was the time in your life where you realized that wasn't an accident. Maybe it was the right time, because I know that's been a lot of times my experience, that I met that person for the right reason, or so that they were here afterward when I needed them.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, that is such a special gift, and I've always heard that we all have it. We don't all maybe tap into it the same way, or either have the ability or have the choice. We don't choose it. But my question is more about you, because I'm really curious if you can do this and you're able to sense that kind of energy, then you're privy to a lot of information that a lot of us aren't. How do you protect yourself?
Oh, I love that question. So there's there's nothing to protect myself from. So this is what's so fascinating. There is a difference in, you hear about energy healing and other types of healing, but this is quite different because, first of all, it's not me doing it. It comes from what I call the source or God or love. It's there's literally the cosmos that we live in has higher vibrational information, and that's what we need. And I got myself to a point where I was fine-tuned like an instrument to be able to access a state of consciousness where there is no disease. And I'm able to connect other people. Like when you go to Europe and you want to use your hair dryer, you have to plug the adapter in to make it work. I'm your adapter. And so I link people up to different vibrational information than they normally have access to. And there's the state of consciousness that this operates from is so profoundly, there is nothing other than love. There's no opposite. There's no duality. There's no evil. There's no good, bad, right, wrong. It is literally a vibration of pure love. And this vibration has all power. It has all the power. So there's nothing to overpower or protect from. Like there's nothing, and with other people, I don't take on anything from them because I'm there to hold the container for them and stay firmly at this higher vibration. And then they come up to my vibration. And it's similar to when they work with tuning forks and they take a tuning fork and a bunch of others and they strike one of them. And then all the tuning forks begin to vibrate at the same note, at the same vibration. I'm the tuning fork, and then everybody else begins to what's known in physics as entrainment. They begin to resonate, to vibrate, to entrain with me. And I don't drop down to their level, they come up to mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so I want to go back to something that I'm guessing everybody heard when you said it, and then there's been a lot of information, so maybe aren't going back to it, but want to. So something you said about, physical pain is not necessarily physical pain, that maybe that's our emotional pain or our past or things we're not letting go of. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. And it's so coincidental and serendipity, I think, that I randomly scrolled through and saw something today that was talking so similarly about the fact that, if we're holding on to those emotions, then we're preventing ourselves from actually having a different or a better future simply because we're not here. We're not like in this right now. So talk to me a little bit about that, about how much that matters, and especially in the work that you do.
Wow, that's such a great conversation. So emotions are a huge factor in underlying the hidden reasons for physical pain. And yet we live in a world that values intellect over emotion. And so most people have never even learned either to even feel their feelings. They haven't learned, if they do feel them, they haven't learned to release them and resolve them. And so, I usually run into one or two different types of people. The people who feel everything, oh my God, they're the ones that want the protection because they're feeling everything. It's like they have tentacles out and they're just picking up on everybody else and the worldly stuff. And they literally do not know how to resolve and process and release that. And then there are the other people who say, feelings? What do you mean? Well, I think, and they go into their head and they try to analyze instead of actually feel. And so years ago, there was an incredible Dr. Valerie Hunt at UCLA. She's since passed, but she was the first person to ever photograph the field around the body. And she discovered that every emotion carries a frequency, and that those frequencies were disturbing the energy field and literally communicating with the cells of the body. And that a lot of people would she would study everyone in her lab, and she would photograph the field before, during, and after these working with them. And she found that when people had an emotional release, it showed up in the photographs, and that if they didn't have an emotional release, they got stuck in their pain patterns. And that is exactly what I have found, and it's why I teach people how to find and release these emotions that get stuck in the body. The emotions emit literal physical chemicals that affect our immune system, our ability, the stress hormones. They create stress hormones. They're affecting the nervous system. And all of these things factor into physical pain and emotional pain. But it's not talked about that much, again, because there's so much judgment about emotions. Don't bring that here. This is a professional setting. You can't be emotional at work. Or if you're a male, God forbid you're a male, you're not allowed to feel, because big boys don't cry. And they unlearn emotions right out of a male at a very early age. And it's happening more and more. It's actually happened more and more to women since the 1960s. And when women went back to the workforce, they had to act like men, and they learned to shut down their feminine energy, emotional nature. And we've seen the increase of pain and everything all the way to suicide ever since. So it's a huge problem. And one of the benefits of energy healing is that everything that you feel, whether you know it or not, was imprinted in your biofield. And I can feel it and I can find it. And all it is a vibration. It's a note. It's like a music, a sound. And the sound can change. And literally, think of it too like, if you're old enough to remember, which you probably are, that the radio where you turn the dial to make the station come in more clearly, the sound, and get rid of the static. I help get rid of the static. And then you feel different emotionally, physically, mentally. And that's because that disturbed frequency becomes harmonious. In physics terms, it becomes coherent. And it's literally changed. And that translates into your health and into your life. And literally the pain is gone.
That is amazing. Okay, so I would love you to, and I know that there is a phenomenal example of a woman with MS who, went from nothing to walking. So that's, of course, a great story. But maybe could you share with us, something, and of course, I think as much as it relates to like women in midlife,
Yeah.
of how you've helped and what the change has been.
Yeah. This is just I swear I live for this, because I've witnessed literally what people would call miracles. I've come to understand everything and anything is possible. And it's such a joy. So I've worked that example I've actually had two different people with MS who literally in the very first session, they stood up and walked for the very first time. And it was, a moment that I'll never forget, because this is so life-changing. And everybody was stunned, of course, but this is what's possible. I've had many, 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 I'm telling you, thousands of women, and men too, but mostly women with fibromyalgia or arthritis, or some type of, hip pain, neck pain, back pain, joint pain. But I'm talking not just a little pain. I'm talking like 20, 30 years of this pain. They're living on injections and drugs and anti-inflammatory patches. And, they're not really living. They've had to give up their athletic sports, their travel, their kneeling on the floor with their grandkids or their kids. Like, they've given up a lot. Their yoga, their gardening. And I've seen over and over and over, even after 20 and 30 years of this daily pain, that in a very short time, sometimes right away in the very first session, but usually over the course of like 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions, they become pain-free. And there's nothing more exhilarating than watching someone come back to life and be able to travel again and exercise again and hike and bike. And I mean, it's just like I go to bed feeling so good. I've seen people with insomnia galore, cannot sleep. I'm talking people who haven't slept in 12 years. Like, how do you know, it makes you feel crazy when you can't sleep. And I've seen that's one of the first things that often resolves. People say, I slept for the first time in years. I've had a lot of people with God, all kinds of headaches, but we're talking really severe. Like, there's something called suicide headaches because people literally kill themselves because it's a cluster of headaches that will not stop. And there are no drugs that seem to relieve this. It's like at the top of the pain scale. And they have all resolved when I've worked on people, like some of them right away in the very first session. I've had people with seizures gone. I've multiple people with seizures and tremors. I've seen prolapsed bladders completely move back into the proper position without me touching anyone. I have had people with thyroid disease, all kinds of thyroid issues, hypo, hyper, Hashimoto's, and gone. And what's really interesting is that, now I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, I don't give medical advice, and I'm not treating these symptoms. I'm just working in their energy field and helping them with the emotional piece as well, and with the thinking mind. But the doctors tell.
Okay, could I jump in? So,
Yeah.
of course, I mean, this is, we are Thyroid Central here. And I don't mean that to bring anything on to anybody who's not got a problem with their thyroid, but I think, you know, that's either one of the things, one of the first places we go if, like, I'm having trouble controlling my weight and I'm doing everything, the exercise and the food, and I can't get there. And yet, you know, there's a fairly large percentage in our Flipping 50 community who's got a thyroid issue. They're on medication and or they've got Hashimoto's.
Yes.
So I love that, you know, you're addressing this. And, you know, I want to just kind of connect the dots for all of you and for, you know, Flora and Cindy, Lynn, Jackie, you guys who are here. I'd love for you to chime in and ask a question. And I'm going to premeditate for you that potentially you'd love to ask a question, but you may not know what to ask. So if that's true and you're kind of looking for the words and how do I put it into a frame, go ahead and kind of drop in what you know, direction, and we'll try to help you with that because I'm in the same spot really, and kind of framing it and letting Debora kind of do the rest of the work for me. But I mean, we know the physiological piece of, you know, sometimes getting to the point where we're bumping into our thyroid and then gotten to that place is, you know, there's cortisol and there's stress, and then we've reached adrenal fatigue, and we're women. So like, men don't cry, we don't quit. We just
right
until we have to, right? And so there is a little physical to that, but there was initially back here the emotional piece of it. So just, am I on the right track?
You are so on the right track. See, the physical body's the last place that anything shows up. I'm going to repeat that. The physical body's the last place that anything shows up. It's the effect, not the cause. It's the effect, not the cause. And you just hit the nail on the head. So women in general, overgivers, overdoers, overthinkers, overfeelers, and they will give till they drop. And I have found there's 13 hidden reasons for almost all pain and symptoms and patterns. And one of the top ones is this overdoing, overgiving, superwoman syndrome. And, you know, we're trained to do it. And it comes naturally to women. We love to give. And I'm not saying become a self-centered non-giver. That's not it. But what happens is we get out of balance. And you're absolutely right, Deb. The stress of it, of the overdoing and the overgiving, and as you teach, the over-exercising, trying so hard to lose the weight, which is all intertwined with the extra stress that we're now making things worse, not better, by overdoing it, because we don't even rest during the exercise. And so all of that is creating more of the cortisol, and it's affecting our nervous system, and we can't sleep. And then, all of this is such, as you know, the round and round the revolving door. But this is what's so exciting about high-speed energy healing. I have seen in more than one case where, with Hashimoto's, for example, there supposedly are markers that will always show up, even if you have it under control and in remission. And there will supposedly be these markers that show that you have Hashimoto's. They disappear. They disappeared like there was true healing. So there's nothing there left to even be in remission. It's gone. And you have to understand, this is different than medicine in that your organs have a particular frequency as well. And when something is truly healed, it's not just that the symptom doesn't manifest anymore. There's nothing wrong with anything anymore. It's gone, literally. So it's not like you have to keep even working on it. It's literally gone. It's not just symptom treatment. And that's what's so different about this. When you change the vibrational frequency of an organ, it changes the organ. So, for example, if your adrenals are shot, but they get now if they're not performing properly, they're emitting a particular frequency. But if you change the frequency of the adrenals must change. And that's something Einstein taught us, that if you expose the body to a particular frequency, the body must change. And that's what's happening with this energy healing. It's very exciting.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
And then I want to go to Cindy and Robin. And Robin, you asked first. Cindy's is about thyroid, and we're just kind of on that stream, so I'm going to kind of bump the order there, but I see your question, and it's amazing. So we'll be back to that. So my question is, does somebody have to be ready for change, or?
Good question. No, no. This work requires no belief. You don't have to understand one thing about how it works. You don't have to believe it will work. And you can be skeptical about it, and you don't have to be willing. I have had more women in general. Women will drag their husbands and teenagers to work with me, and they don't really want to be there. And yet I have seen 9 times out of 10, they get the help they need. And that's because it's kind of like, it's kind of like if you stand on the top of a building and you throw an apple off the top of the building, it's going to hit the ground and splatter, because there's a law of gravity. Like, you're not going to change that. This operates on particular laws of the universe. And so you can believe in it or not believe in it, but it's going to be there anyway.
Okay. So I'm just going to interpret what she just said in exercise terms.
Oh.
And I do not want any of you to take this as applying it would be a good idea. But she essentially just said, you can not lift weights and you will get stronger.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to do the work, and you can actually get what you want. So we're going to I would love to erase that from your memory right now, because that is not true where exercise is concerned. She has a much better program, y'all. But I'm going to fade back, put you back on, and read Cindy's question. And I know you can see it too. So,
but wait, I have to insert something, because I want to make sure everyone gets the right idea here. So I am a big, huge fan of the physical body and taking care of it. And I'm not, and what the benefit of the energy healing is, it actually improves athletic ability. And so I don't want to give you the idea, because there's a lot of people who think, oh, good, now I'll never have to exercise. That's not where I'm coming from. Yeah. And in fact, I probably am more in touch with my body than the average person. And if anything, when you have energy healing, you'll become more aware of what your body's been trying to tell you that it needs. And most bodies need movement and strength training. And so these go hand in hand like a glove, which is why I love what Debora teaches, because I'm a huge fan of moving the body and getting it stronger, and stretching and yoga and all of it. And so don't think you're going to skip out on stronger. You're not.
All right. So Cindy asks, I have thyroid nodules, but have never been placed on meds for it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And I do have trouble losing fat.
So first of all, you've been told you have thyroid nodules. That's fine. But thyroid nodules can change. So the body is designed to heal itself when it's given the right environment, the proper tools, and usually someone there who knows what they're doing that can help you through any stuck points along the way. That's what I provide with this, is a safe environment. You see, your thyroid, there's a reason your thyroid is not at optimal functioning. And, you know, I don't like to make generalizations, especially when I can't really talk to someone, but I'm going to ask you to think about a few things here. Because the thyroid center has to do with our communication, our expression, and with oftentimes control, our will. And so those of you with thyroid issues, I want you to just think about, I'm going to ask some different questions for you to ponder. Do you fully and freely and easily express yourself in the world? Do you feel heard? Do you feel like you're living your true self? Are you expressing your true self? Or do you feel like in some way you've been shut down or judged or criticized or abused? And again, this is a much deeper conversation that I have when I work with people, but these are things for you to think about, because, and there's no judgment in this, it's just that the nodules can and will change when this whole area of your body and the underlying issues resolve, when you get the right support for this and not just deal with it on a physical level. And that's why, especially Cindy, people like you who keep trying to lose weight, you're not just sitting around wishing and hoping it will leave. You're doing things. You're working with Debora. You're learning about the body, how it works, how to lose fat safely, but you're not losing the fat. That's where the energy healing is so powerful, because there are things you may not even realize. It may have happened back when you were a little girl and you had no idea that it imprinted and made a strong impression, and it shut down something from functioning at optimal level. And it may have taken years for it to show up, or maybe it's been a chronic condition, I don't know. But these are the types of deeper ways that I work with people to really explore the underlying, not just the thyroid gland, but what happened first, what came first. And that's why so many people have healing with me. So I hope you'll chew on that.
Yeah, so love this. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here, and KK, I think you're at work and you have to drive now, so you may not be able to listen, but I want to go back to Robin's question and then get to KK's. Very related, really,
very.
Emotions. So first, Robin's, how do you stop the negativity of others so that it does not affect you?
You don't stop the negativity of others. They're going to do what they're going to do. And that almost killed me, by the way. I became, the first 30 years of my life, I should have been like the poster girl for this, because all I tried to do all day long was stop other people from being who they were. They weren't following my script. And God damn it, I just wanted them to like do what I wanted. And I was exhausted trying to get people to do that. And it was affecting me in so many ways. And I'm very, very sensitive and always was, but I didn't know it. And so if somebody like even had a look on their face, I would feel their feelings, and I would feel depressed or exhausted or angry. I would feel what they were feeling, and I would leave so drained that I had to like shut myself up by myself alone to fix myself. And this went on for years because I didn't understand, first of all, how empathetic I was, and I didn't understand how to let to set proper boundaries, and I didn't understand how to allow all this to go through me instead of getting stuck in me. And this is what I teach when I work with people. I can't share everything I know. I wish I could like insert a disc into people's heads because I don't have enough time today. But this is exactly what I teach, because we are affected by other people, and we're particularly affected by the environment we grew up in. And then we tend to unconsciously seek out people that are similar to the people we couldn't stand when we were growing up. We couldn't stand how they felt and what they did to us. And then so we live this pattern out later in life and then we feel like we have to protect ourselves. You don't need to protect, you need to learn the skills to speak up, set proper boundaries, to stop going into the trap in the first place, and to learn to release if you do find yourself taking on other people's stuff, and to not confuse empathy with sympathy. They're very, very different.
Love that. I'm just going to stay in the background and segue right to KK's question, because it is so good. And, so in case you can't see that, everyone else, can you help me find my feelings? Sounds weird to ask, but I was raised not to feel emotions. And actually you've, kind of said as much, Debora, and then went to United States Marine Corps boot camp, also not a place to have emotions, right?
Yeah.
So, or can I heal even without knowing how to name the feelings?
KK, I guarantee you can heal, and you know why I feel so strongly about it?
Sorry about that.
And KK, I feel so strongly that I know you can heal because you're telling my story. Now, no, I wasn't in the Marine Corps, but okay. I'm going to take you back to a moment in time where I had crashed and burned so bad, and literally like everything was falling apart, falling out, or had fallen out. And I was so sick, and I didn't know anything about this emotional piece. And when I went to start getting some help, the woman kept saying to me, well, how do you feel? What's going on? How do you feel? And I would look at her like, well, what do you mean? And I would say, and she'd say, but well, how did that make you feel when such and such happened, or when you went through this experience? And I would say, well, I think that it means blah, 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 blah. And she'd say, no, honey, not what do you think? How does it feel? You could have been, she was talking to a brick wall. And here's what happened. She took out a piece of paper with smiley faces, all those different emoticons all over it. And she said, point to the one that looks like how you feel. Holy moly. That's how bad I was, okay? I didn't know a feeling if it hit me in the head. So I have had to relearn all of this. And KK and anybody else who can relate, you can learn too. It's not that you have to really learn anything new. The feelings are in there, but what happens is we unlearn that ability to feel because we don't feel it's safe to feel. And so what I help people do is provide a safe environment, and those feelings come up like a tsunami. And I teach you how to not be afraid to feel, how to release the feelings, and not be afraid to live your life and always looking over your shoulder, worried about feelings coming up. No. You can definitely heal from this. Every single day in my programs, people are healing from this. And I've seen one extraordinary case comes to my mind. This woman was numb from head to toe. She had completely numb body. And the doctors could find nothing on a medical test. And when she came to me, she came into my group program, we discovered that she grew up in an environment where it was not okay to feel, particularly anger. She was not allowed to feel it. And she became, I mean, this is wild, but this shows you the power of emotion. So she learned to turn off the anger and all other feelings as well. And she ended up just only allowing herself to be really, really nice. She worked in an animal shelter. She lived in an ashram. She was very spiritual. And she was so nice. This woman never said an unkind word. And guess what we found? We found she had tons of buried rage. And had been afraid to let that rage come up and out because she was taught it was not okay. And when you bury emotions, your body will eventually numb out, literally physically show numbing out from not allowing the emotions to come up, or it will suppress different organs and it will suppress the immune system, is what I found. So anyway, within 1 week, this woman all the feeling came back in her body because she learned she was in a safe space, and the healing session started to help her access the emotions, and she started uncovering all the stuff that had never healed. And there she was, healthy, happy, all back online again after that. So you guys can all heal. No question. Great question, KK.
Yeah, and I think that's just such a deep one. And I think it all does come back to emotion. And so I want to ask you one other question. So you kind of covered this and you said, all right, you don't have to believe. If you can be there, we can change the vibrational.
Yeah.
Is it possible to amplify results if you do believe, if you do support yourself in a different way?
Well, yes. So, okay, I found years ago, I used to only do the energy healing, and a
Mhm.
lot of people got great results, but there was about 10% of the clients that would call me sometimes a year later or 6 months later or even sooner, but they would say, the pain is back. Why is it back? And I had to figure that out. And that's where I discovered how important the emotions and the thinking mind is. And so I started to teach people actual techniques that they can use for their own self-care to support themselves so that they don't have to keep bringing back the pain to learn from it. And so, yes, I teach specific techniques to find and release the emotions that get stuck in the body, and to also find the thinking habits that are destructive. They're harmful, and they can cause pain, and see, the thoughts create an emotional reaction.
Mhm.
You've got to clean up the thoughts and the emotions and the energy field. And if you do all three of those, you will heal. And I like to empower people with tools that they can use for their own self-care. And then they combine that with your physical body and everything you teach. I mean, my God, like that's how you become a master of your life and your health and live an amazing life.
I love it. And I'm going to ask you to do something for us. So I just shared with everybody, I know you've got a day coming up, a day of healing. And I want you to, if you will, just kind of walk us through like, what would somebody expect in coming to it? Or is there prep work that they need to do? How do they show up so that they're really ready to participate in? I mean, literally, women like to know when they get the bathroom break. So tell
Yeah.
us all.
All right. So this is a highly experiential event that is the easiest event you're ever going to attend. Easy in certain ways. So we start in the morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. And throughout the day, and you know what? Here's the thing. I have a format, but every time that I do these, this is my favorite event to do. The group of people, it's live with me. And the group of people that shows up, there is always no accident who shows up. And a theme starts to come out. So although I have a structure, don't hold me to it exactly because things morph and change once I get to know who's on that call. But you do not need to prepare anything. You need to just bring yourself with an open mind, as open as possible. And if you're still skeptical, that's okay too. You need to bring a pen and a piece of paper and willingness to just follow along. And in the morning, I teach you all about I reveal right away the top 13 reasons that I have found that are hidden from view. that lie at the root of pain and symptoms and chronic conditions. And I just give you that, and you're going to find yourself on the list. And I'm going to elaborate on the top 3 and get you to start thinking about your health in a completely different new way. And then I take Q&A, live Q&A, where you can ask your toughest questions. And I weave in what I teach while I answer your questions. So it's not like me lecturing you at you all day. It's literally, I interact with you. I weave what I want to teach you into the answers that to your questions. And I work with some people live. You can volunteer, and I'll take you through different those techniques I was talking about to help you literally right in present moment time, release the damaging thoughts that you don't even know you're contributing to your pain with, and help you release the emotions. And then we break the day up into 2 sections. And I do a high-speed energy healing session for you in the morning and then again in the late afternoon. And it's very relaxing. And you do nothing. All you need to do is sit or lie down. And again, this is a day that's designed to just immerse you. You're going to have over 5 hours with me live, and it's very interactive, and it's just designed to immerse you in both the philosophy, the understanding, but the experience. I want you to walk away with an experience, not just more information. And you will. You'll have an experience unique to you. And you may have a dramatic experience. I mean, so this is where Deb was talking about the woman with MS who had been in a wheelchair her whole life. She got up and walked after the day of healing. Okay, that's incredible. But that's the kind of stuff that does happen. Now, not everybody gets that. Some people, but everybody will experience something. And some people need a slower, more gradual healing experience. Not everybody needs, it's not right for everyone. And I don't determine it, by the way. You'll determine it based on how willing you are and what's really right for you. Your body knows what's right for you. There's such wisdom in your body. And I can't override that. I don't have control over anybody. So the day of healing is meant for anybody with any kind of pain or pattern or symptom that you don't like. You've tried to stop. You have maybe tried everything under the sun to get rid of it. So it could be physical pain, but it could be emotional. It could be anxiety, depression. Maybe it's grief. Maybe it's worry. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's just the stress of what we've been living with for the past 10 months. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's trauma from all of what we've been living with for the past 10 months. It's also, though, I want to welcome you to the Day of Healing if you have any kind of chronic condition, like you just don't sleep well, or you have, a lot of people come with like restless leg syndrome, things like that you just don't know what to do, and they don't know what to do for you, and they tell you you're going to have to live like that the rest of your life. I would question that. And if you don't have pain and you don't have symptoms, but you're curious about energy healing, it can still help you because like I said earlier, it's been shown to improve athletic ability. It's been shown to definitely increase creativity, productivity, focus, memory, concentration. What else? Oh, intuition. It ignites the intuition. So those of you who have ever wanted, curious about all that, it improves intuition dramatically for a lot of people. So you don't have to be suffering to benefit from it. And you're going to learn a lot. And those of you that are kind of resonating with that question about how do you not take on other people's negativity, mm-hmm. It will help those of you that I call the sensitive people. Definitely that isn't natural. And you may find that resolves, or at least you become aware of what's going on there and how to begin to help yourself. And the healing will definitely clear you of what you been taking on that isn't even yours. That's why energy healing is so profound. It's like a car wash for the body, mind, and spirit, and a brainwash. And we need that. We need a tune-up. Just like you update your iPhone, you need to update your physiology, and that's what high-speed healing will do.
I love it. And I think Susie hit the nail on the head here. It's fascinating. It is fascinating, but I have to tell you this. So this is, okay, so let me give you a little background. So Midwestern girl, right? So conservative roots, conservative growing up. And I have learned that because I'm here, I'm at Flipping 50, we all like to know who's behind the business that I share pieces of myself. But I will share this, and this is no accident, that we're doing this. But I have said probably 3 times this year that I need an exorcist. I have something in me I know that I need out, and I can't do it myself. So I am going to the Day of Healing. So anybody else who wants to join me for any other reason, I will be there in the seats. But we didn't say the date. Debora, is
Monday,
coming up?
Monday the 18th, which is this Monday, which in the U.S. is Martin Luther King Day. So hopefully a lot of people don't have to work.
Okay.
And I should mention that we record the entire day. It's from 10 in the morning till about 12:30, but just warning you, I always go over if there are questions, like I end up always running over. But then we take a break, and there's a homework assignment during the break to help continue your healing process. So, and then we come back from 5 to about 7:30 p.m. And so if you can take the whole day off, just one day I'm asking, and be there, it really is profound if you can. But if you can't, because we have people in Europe where it's middle of the night sometimes,
Sure.
we record the whole day, including the healing sessions. And you will get that the next day, as soon as we can get it out. And it's just as powerful. And so the only difference is that you won't be able to talk to me live, obviously,
Right.
but you will benefit from it. But it's coming up this Monday, and it's also, I've made a special to your community where it's half off. So I hope that will make it easier for a lot of you if you've been stressed out about money lately. I hope.
Yes. So let me ask you this. So I am one of those people who, okay, my Monday's already full. But so tell me, when I watch the replay,
Yeah.
is there a best way to do that? Can I watch it
Yes.
in pieces, or should I watch it straight through the way you delivered it?
Well, I would recommend you definitely watch it from the beginning, even if you want to pause and stop and rest or do what you need to do. But I don't just jump into the middle. This
Right.
the first time through. The first time through, you really want to go in order, because there's logic to my madness the way I dish it out.
Okay.
But then you could go back a second time, and you could go back to the parts. That's why I want you to bring a pen and paper, because I want you to write down what really jumps out at you, and you'll know because your body will react. You may find yourself laughing for no reason, or crying, or your body starts shaking, or you just get a physical reaction. And you want to write down what's being said, what's the timestamp, and you want to go back to that again as well, and make sure that you check that out.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. So I did put the link where you can get it, and it's at flipping50.com/heal, just the word HEAL, where you can get to the special that Deb gave us. And thank you so much for sharing. I think we're all, it doesn't matter, I think, if you're brand new to this or if you've put your thumb on it. We've all lived this last year of so many changes. I think we're open to a lot of things. I think we're in need of a lot of things we didn't know we were in need of before.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And you know what? It's funny because I feel like the greatest purpose for all of this is for me to just give people that leg up and that relief that they need. That's really my passion. Like, we all work so damn hard at everything, especially women, right? We just work so hard. And this is a way for you to receive and without a lot of efforting, and get that leg up that you need, and get that, like Deb was saying, the release of this, the gunk from life that we've been absorbing. And it just, we all need that, you know, we all need that. So it's such a pleasure to do this and offer this. And I'm just here for you, and hope that anybody who's curious, or it's yelling at you in your head, like, I got to be there. Like, even if you're brand new though, just it's one day, and you'll know before the end of that day, you'll know if this is for you and can help you. And it's just such a privilege to share it with you.
Well, thank you. And thanks everybody for hanging in there on a Friday night. I know what that's like. And KK and Cindy and Robin, thanks for all your comments. Susie, thanks for throwing that in there as well. Love that you were all here. Cindy, Lynn, Jackie, Flora. So have a great weekend. And I had forgotten myself, it's a long weekend. So I hope to see you all. I won't actually be able to be there live, but I will be watching the replay. So a couple of new comments.
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, do you want to tackle that one? Will one session heal everybody that's there? I think.
So, yeah, that's a great question. So, one session does not always take away every problem you ever had or have currently. But if I understand your question correctly, when I work on a group, it doesn't matter how large of a group, everyone gets individual results. And so the answer is yes, that the healing session will heal it's for everybody that's there. I don't work one-on-one very much anymore. I take a handful of one-on-one clients that are super urgent, but most of the time I only do groups, and I've had groups with thousands of people at once. And that's what's so fascinating about this as well, is that people get individual results. So don't let that scare you off. It will be like me and you alone in a room, and yet everybody else will be telling a different story of what they experienced. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, everybody, if you're still here, and I know a few of you are, just staying to last minute, would you just show some appreciation for Debora for coming in and kind of explaining what this is, what it can do, and how she works and how this actually operates. So appreciated. And again, thank you, girl. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, and all your amazing guests. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and such good questions. And I love you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Have a good weekend. Hope to see you on Monday, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.